G'day everybody and welcome to a new month in Puzzle Combat, which of course means that there is a brand new Hero of the Month and a new Weapon of the Month. So welcome to Governor's semi-official, if you will, review video of the Hero of the Month for August 2021, which is Wilma. So, Wilma is a 5-star purple hero. She has the description of being a bulletproof SWAT elite. So that's what she is. She looks like she's got all the gear on, nice helmet and all that kind of thing. Before we launch too far into the hero and the review itself, I will overview real quick some of the odds around the Hero of the Month and the Weapon of the Month. So if we look at the odds, as always, the Hero of the Month and Weapon of the Month have a 1.3% chance to be a bonus draw on any summons you do in a portal with the chance for a bonus draw. So what that means is that for approximately 300 gold, you have a 1.3% chance of drawing Wilma or the Weapon of the Month. If you do that out to a 10x summon, so you're spending 2,600 or 3,000 gold, you're getting up to a 12.27% chance. You're not getting near a 50% chance until you've done 50 summons, so that's 13,000 gold being spent, or up to 15,000 depending on the portal. By the time you're getting to 100 summons, you're getting up there. You can see on the graphic there, and you're not getting above a 99% chance of having the Hero of the Month as a bonus draw until you're doing 450, 500 plus summons, which is quite a lot of gold being spent there. So as always, before you go in hoping and wishing for XYZ hero, just know the odds and that they're probably not going to be in your favor. Her stats are 570 attack power with 741 defense and 1441 HP. She has a charge speed of 39, which is slow. In fact, it's in the slower form of the slow charge speeds, which requires 12 tiles to charge. This can be boosted up to 11 tiles if you give her a +4 speed gun, which you can do with a completely unleveled Inksplosion, the 5-star purple speed gun, or anything higher than that, really. Yeah, the Emblem node, so she's Assault class. The Emblem node in the Assault class gives +2%. It's not actually enough to do anything by itself. You will still need to equip it with a speed gun, which is unfortunate. In fact, even with a maxed out Inksplosion, which is +9 speed, that 2% charge boost is not enough to push it over the edge into the next charge speed up, which is average speed of 50 charge, which would mean charging in 10 tiles. So it's a little bit of a missed opportunity there. If you get a +10 speed gun, you'd be over the line and you'd be home away, but with a +9 speed gun, which is the best we've got available, that 2% isn't enough to get her there. Stat-wise, compared to other heroes, or rather all other 5-star heroes, her attack stat itself at 570 attack is the second worst of all 5-star heroes. The only one that's actually worse is Breakthrough, but his damage is actually based on his defense stat, so it really doesn't matter what his attack stat is. Her defense, though, on the other hand, it's actually the 5th best available that you can get at the moment, and with that +180 defense from her special skill, it actually pushes her up above all the other options, assuming they don't get any defense buffs either. Her HP at 1441 is in the top 20%, so she's fairly up there overall. So realistically, if you look at all of that combined, it's very defense/HP skewed. In fact, she's got, with the fact that she's got the lowest attack stat and quite a high defense HP, she's actually got the second worst attack per defense/HP ratio. Overall, she's got the third highest combined total of defense and HP stats, with only Breakthrough and Mr. Magnet being higher than hers. So, they're both purple heroes as well, but overall, she is incredibly defensively geared and defensively built. She's very sturdy overall. Class-wise, she is the Assault class, which to me is a bit of an odd one for this hero. Assault class has the perk of being able to inflict wound damage, which is a portion of the damage dealt to the enemy hero gets done as damage over time each turn. The fact that her attack stat is so very, very incredibly low means that she's not going to be able to give out much total damage, which means her wound amount is actually going to be really low compared to most other assault heroes. Overall, with that, in terms of the emblems themselves, I would put Wilma probably at the very bottom of your list of assault heroes to emblem up. She'd be way down in terms of priorities. If you do emblem her, I would be going the defense and HP route the whole way down. So that's defense, which is a higher priority than HP, which is a higher priority than attack. So if we look at the class tree, I'm just going to use hairwares here. So as you go down, I'd be going the right branch, followed by the left branch, followed by right, then left, then right, right again, and then at the very end, I'd go left to pick up that 2% speed node, just in case there comes out a +10 or a +11 speed gun somewhere down the track. So if you follow this route all the way through to +20, what it results in +17 attack with +90 defense and an additional 237 HP for total stats of 587 attack, 831 defense, and a total of 1,678 HP. So very up there in terms of the overall damage output that she's going to be kicking out. Her special skill, so if we have a bit of a read through of that, it's titled Heads Down. So it deals out 220% damage to the target and nearby enemies, bearing in mind all of this is at slow charge speed. The caster and her nearby allies get +180 defense for 3 turns, and the caster and nearby allies then share received damage with each other for 3 turns. And the additional info is that this does not apply to status effects, which is pretty normal in the damage sharing world from Empires and Puzzles and stuff. So overall, if we break that down bit by bit, the damage side of things, percent-wise, it's about average for a DOA 3 hero. However, because of her incredibly low base attack stat, this drops her all the way down to being amongst some of the worst available DOA 3 heroes in terms of the damage output. In fact, she is among the bottom 2 or 3 that she can get. So if we go through the list here of a couple of the other ones that you could max out, you can see up the top there, you've got ones like Banshee and Thrasher and that who are dealing additional damage against armored heroes. Breakthrough, who's going to be one I'm going to compare a lot to later on, he's dealing out 1576 total attacking power. You've got Xavier and Mirage there, who are both purple heroes as well. Mirage is doing 1336 and Xavier is doing 1292. And then you've got Wilma there with a combined total of 1254 attacking power. So it's quite low compared to most of the other options. The only 2 that are worse is Horato, who's doing out burn damage and armor generation as well, both of which are very powerful effects. And Hairwear when there are literally 0 green tiles on the board. If you can get Hairwear with his maximum damage output, it's way up there at 1877. So Wilma, for all intents and purposes, is among the bottom 2 damage dealing heroes for DOA 3s. That defense buff down there, so +180 defense for 3 turns, it's a pretty standard number at +180. One thing to note that it is only for the caster and nearby allies. You do have other heroes who are slow speed and are also doing a defense buff, but are doing it for all allies. So as an example of that, you've got Stone. So Stone does, I'll just pull him up, sorry. So Stone is at 35 charge, so very much the same. He does +180 defense buff, but he's doing it to all allies. So that kind of thing, it's the same sort of speed, but defense buff for everyone, whereas Wilma is only for herself and the one on either side of her. The damage share itself, so that last line, so the caster and nearby allies share received damage with each other for 3 turns. This can be very much a double-edged sword in just about every foreseeable aspect. So it's really good because you can use it to protect weak allies from a big strike that might be coming in on them. So what this does is if a sniper, say, targets your weak hero, it spreads that damage out across not just that weak hero, but all of the other 2. which means that they're more likely to stay alive and survive that initial hit on them. The bad side of it is, though, if that same weak ally has shared damage, but they aren't the intended target for the skill, say if the enemy sniper was to shoot at Wilma, that weak hero that's sitting next to her and is now getting shared damage is going to pick up that damage that they normally wouldn't have gotten. So to put it into the context of a war machine, which is probably going to be the single hardest hitting thing you're going to face, if you take your Wilma into your war machine fight and you've got, say, a couple 4-star heroes, they don't have emblems or anything like that. They usually get one shot by a 12 or a 13-star war machine. If you plonk Wilma between them, if that weak hero was to get whacked directly by that war machine, they will survive that hit. In fact, they'll probably survive 2 or 3 hits from the war machine that they normally wouldn't be able to. Normally they might get hit and they'd be dead, and that's it. So it's great for that if they are the intended target of the damage. The issue though comes is if your 2 weak heroes next to Wilma aren't the intended target, because they're now picking up additional damage that they normally wouldn't have received. So say if you've got the 3 of them there, and you've got your weak hero, Wilma, and then some other strong hero, if Wilma or that strong hero get targeted by the war machine, your weak hero is also picking up a third of that damage, which they normally wouldn't have. So it can be a bad situation as well as being potentially a good situation. So, it's a bit of a 50-50 in terms of how it works. Depending on who are the nearby allies for Wilma, it could be a 33%, 66% in your favor, or the reverse, that it's going to bite you in the ass. So yeah, damage share can be good, but also can be quite a double-edged sword, which I'll also highlight later on again in the summary. So the hero that Wilma is probably most comparable to in the game is Breakthrough. He's another DOA 3 purple hero who's got a defense buff and all that kind of thing and a little bit of damage. So if we go through it all and compare the two, so I've got Breakthrough's card here as well, and we've got all of Wilma's stuff, from before. So attack stat, Wilma is slightly better than Breakthrough, but as I'll highlight later on, that's actually kind of irrelevant in the comparison. The defense stats of the two is almost identical, and the HP stat of Breakthrough is actually quite a bit larger than that of Wilma. In terms of the charge speeds, if we look at the two of them, Breakthrough is a 54 charge, which is average speed, compared to Wilma, who is 39 on slow. So already we're at a 2-tile difference in charge speed of 10 for Breakthrough versus 12 for Wilma. Like Wilma, you can charge Breakthrough with just a unleveled Explosion, which is giving +5 speed. So straight off the bat, they're almost exactly the same in terms of all of that aspects of things, but Breakthrough is 2 tiles less than Wilma is. Damage-wise, the percentages are very similar at 215% for Breakthrough and 220% for Wilma. And you'd think that because Breakthrough has a lower attack stat, he's actually worse off because of this, but it's not. Because the big difference, if we read Breakthrough's card there, Breakthrough says that the damage is based on his defense stat. So what this means is instead of using the attack stat to go into the damage calculation to work out how much attacking power per se the hero has, Breakthrough instead uses his defense stat, which we've already pointed out is absolutely huge for a 5-star hero. It's one of the best that you can possibly get. So by factoring that in, rather than using that very weak attack stat that Breakthrough has, he's using this very high defense stat. So what it means is that he ends up having an attacking power of 1,576 over those charging at each of those 3 enemies, compared to Wilma, who's just 1,254. So we're sitting at almost over 300 attack power difference between the two heroes. With Breakthrough's defense buff, which is percentage based, which can go up as high as +56 defense buff, that attacking power can actually charge as high as 2,458. So that's pretty much double the attacking power of Wilma at maximum defense buff. So yeah, in terms of the defense buffs then, so this is the last line that's very similar for the two. Breakthrough has a +36 defense buff, which can then scale up to a total of +56 with the additional hits that he takes on. So compare that to Wilma, who does plus 180 static defense boost, which is approximately equivalent to about 27% defense boost. So overall, Breakthrough is sitting at a much better overall defense buff, much better damage, much better speed and all of that than Wilma is. The only point where the two heroes really differ is that Breakthrough's special skill ends there at the defense buff, while Wilma has that third line there, which is the damage share, which, as we said before, can be both a good and a bad thing. So I'm not going to really pin it either way as being better or worse per se, but it's just an extra thing on Wilma's card. So in summary, we've got the two of them. Breakthrough is faster, he does more damage, gives off a bigger defense buff, and has a better total HP and defense stat total than Wilma does. Plus, he has a much better defensive class, which I didn't even touch on in the Sentry class, compared to Wilma at Assault class, which is much more attack-oriented, which is completely wasted on her. The only thing that Wilma really has that is maybe better is the damage share, but that's really, toss of the coin whether it's going to be better or worse. So overall, summarizing Wilma, she's really built to be a tank with the defensively geared stats she's got, that survival-based special skill. It's pretty clear that she's meant to be a tank, a flank on defense at absolute worst, but really the best spot for a defense boosting, damage sharing, minor damage dealing hero is in the tank position. The biggest issue with putting Wilma at tank is that the yellow color overall has an extremely powerful attacking roster. In wartime, for me, I typically go 2 attacking teams which are yellow, and that's going off color against blue tanks. So, against a purple tank team, yellow will just absolutely shred it to pieces. So realistically, that power of attack that comes in yellow, combined with the prevalence and relative ease of access of 8-bit, who's an elemental yellow debuffing hero, means that purple tanks will, for me, never really be a feasible thing, and they'll always be pretty easy to take down overall. So realistically, if you've got 8-bit and you go up against a Wilma tank, Wilma fires off. Okay, she's got a defense buff, she's got a damage sharing going on. Cool. I then just have to fire off 8-bit, and I've now put on a minus 54% yellow debuff, which is instantly better than the plus 180 defense buff she's given out, remembering that that's about a 27% defense boost. So, I'm already got an advantage in terms of the defense buff versus debuff there. And now she's now sharing that damage out across herself and her 2 nearby allies, and I'm throwing yellow tiles, which are strong against purple, against her, and now splitting that damage across 3 enemies. So, overall, I would love to see Wilma tanks become a thing, because it would just make attacking very, very easy if you've got 8-bit or 2. In terms of attack, she could have quite a possible use. I wouldn't go so far to say that she would be great at it, but she could potentially be a supporting hero with minor damage output and that damage share and defense buff to sort of sturdy out one side of your attacking team. War Machines, she could be, again, pro or a con, depending on who the War Machine is actually targeting. She's probably more of a liability than a benefit, because she will be sharing that damage with unintended targets. And she's also got a very low attack stat, which is going to be decreasing your net damage output from your attacking team compared to putting in someone who's got a much higher attack stat. So overall, I'd rate her and rank her probably quite poorly. She's down there among the worst possible purple options that you could get. I'd probably do most 4 or even 5 and even 4-star purple heroes as a higher priority. So yeah, that's my thoughts on her and my take. I'd love to hear your thoughts if you want to just jump down into the comments section and give us your thoughts on her. If there's anything that I've missed, if there's some niche applications or even some synergies you can see with her, with other heroes, I'd love to hear those thoughts on her. In terms of the weapon of the month, so for August 2021, we've got a blue 5-star weapon of the month, which is the Wyvernid 7.62mm. So it's got 214 attack and 228 defense. So there is some skewing towards the defense stat, which makes a little bit of sense when you compare it or have a look at the first of the two perks. The two perks is plus 110 HP and plus 23% armor piercing. And that's at max level, so 5th promotion. So overall, total headline summary, I think this is another fairly poor weapon of the month to go with the one we had last month in yellow. The HP perk I generally find to be the least useful available perk you could get compared to all of the other perks that are available. The main issue I have with it is that the number that you get for the HP boost is quite low in terms of the percentage increase that you're getting. So if we look at this blue weapon of the month, the Wyvernid, it's giving plus 110 HP, which sounds like a lot, but then when you go and look at the average HP of all of the 5-star heroes, this is really only about an 8% increase in HP. Which when you then go and look at all the other boosts you could be getting, they're all in the teens at the very least, so 10 to 20% at the absolute worst, with some getting as high as 30s or even 40% boosts and that kind of thing. So, 8% for me just doesn't cut it. It's so tiny in terms of the amount of perk and the boost that you're actually getting from the weapon. The armor pierce ability is better. I still put it quite low down overall. The issue for it on this gun, the Wyvernid, is that the application or the usefulness of armor piercing on a blue hero is actually quite low. There's only one red hero that actually creates armor, which is Horato. None of the other ones actually create armor, so you're not going to be able to necessarily pierce armor damage. There's also only 3 blue heroes who deal extra damage against armor. 2 of them admittedly are vanilla heroes, so they're relatively easier to get a hold of in Lillian and Banshee, and the other one being Pantera. So you're really wanting to give armor piercing to a hero who does extra damage against armor, and then target a enemy hero who has armor. So you kind of need all 3 of those things to line up to get maximum effect out of an armor piercing gun. And for the blue heroes, that's just really not going to be overly common an application. So in terms of your guns, you're wanting to level the ones that are going to give you the broadest range of application that you can possibly get. And armor piercing just is too niche to be worth leveling a gun specifically for that for me. So from that side of things, I don't think it's an overly useful gun. The armor piercing could be good if you've got the right situation for it and the right hero, and you're going up against an enemy team that's got Horato or even another hero that generates armor like Crockett or Anastasia. But the biggest detriment to it all is the fact that it's got that the HP perk, which is just so incredibly tiny compared to the other perks that exist on the guns. So overall, I would say that the Wyvernid is probably the worst available 5-star blue gun in the game to date. It's a big call, and I am sorry to those of you that do get it. I'd probably advise either feeding it away to promote another 5-star gun, or just hanging on to it for now and just waiting to see if you get a better option before leveling it. So again, I'm sorry for a harsh review of the weapon of the month, but yeah, I just don't see it being a great 5-star blue gun overall compared to even the vanilla options that you've got available. So again, I'd love to hear your thoughts on the gun itself as well. If you agree or disagree or whatever, just hit the comments section and hit me up with them. So yeah, that's about it for the content of this one. Hope you guys have enjoyed once again, and if you found this stuff useful, do let me know and swing this video a like, and that helps me know. Otherwise, I will catch you guys all in the next video. Cheers, bye.